Alright, in this lesson we will continue our work with parabolas, but we're going to be working on changing forms from general form, which is what you see here with no parentheses or anything, to standard form, which is what we've been working with when you have your parentheses like this, and you can look and you can see the vertex is H and K. This is standard form, and here's an example of a parabola written in standard form. So we're going to be going from equations like this to equations like this. As always, please put your pencil or pen down. Don't copy off of me as I show you how to do the problems. You're going to want to go back and do these problems by yourself to make sure that you can really do them. And practice. You need the practice. Alright, if I want to rewrite this in standard form with the parentheses and everything, focus on this, okay? Look at the variable that's squared. That's the x. Alright, that lets me know that this is what I want on the left side of the equation. Everything else needs to go ahead and be on the right hand side. So with that in mind, I am going to subtract 12y from both sides. Okay, that way these are gone. Now, I have x squared plus 4x, and I'm going to leave a space because I'm going to have to complete the square here. And then over here, I'm going to have negative 12y plus 56. Okay, so it's time to complete the square. Half of the middle squared. So half of this is 2. 2 squared is 4. So I have to add a 4. Of course, anything I add to the left, I'll have to add it also to the right. So make sure you do that. Now, the point of completing the square, this is where the parentheses come in. This should always factor as the same thing twice. In this case, x plus 2 times x plus 2. Alright, meanwhile over here I have negative 12y plus 60, combining these like terms. Alright, now that means I could write this as x plus 2 quantity squared equals. Now, for the other set of parentheses over here, we really want that focal width number, the 4p number, to be out in front of parentheses. Okay, so basically if I know I need that negative 12 out there, then what I'm doing is I'm dividing both of these by negative 12. 60 divided by negative 12 is negative 5. Okay, and you can check it and imagine now doing the distributive property. Of course, negative 12 times y is negative 12y. And negative 12 times negative 5 is positive 60, so it checks out. So guess what? That's all there is to it. We have now rewritten this equation in standard form. The rest, now we can go on and graph it and find all this good information. Let's start with knowing, does it open up, down, left, or right? Now remember, the first parabola we ever learned was y equals x squared, and we know that that was a upward facing parabola. So anytime I see x squared, I know it's going to be either up or down. And see, even though it's in parentheses, I have x squared, so I know it's either going to be up or down. Up was positive, down was negative. Now it's the 12 that matters here. Because this is negative, that means it's going to be down. The plus 2 and the minus 5 have nothing to do with it. So I know it's going to be down. So opens down. Okay, now let's talk vertex. Alright, standard form is great when it comes to the vertex because it's just going to be the opposite of this one, comma that one. Alright, I mean it's opposite of both of these. So negative 2 comma positive 5. So negative 2 comma 5. Let's go ahead and graph that. Okay, so negative 2 comma 5 is going to be right here. Okay, so that is my vertex, guys. Next, we need to find the focus. But in order to find the focus, we need to find P. Okay, and I'm talking about when you're looking at standard form, the number in front is really 4 times this value P, 4P. We need to know what P is. So, since this negative 12 is in the 4P position, 4P equals negative 12. Alright, if you look at it that way, dividing both sides by 4 is going to give us P equals negative 3. Now that tells us where the focus goes. Alright, we know it opens down, so that means the focus will be down. And now we know it will be down 3. So here's the focus right here. Of course, that is the point negative 2 comma 2. Alright, now the directrix will be in the opposite direction from the focus. So if the focus is down 3, then the directrix is a line that will be up 3 from the vertex. Alright, so our directrix will be here. Okay, now we just, oh yeah, let's go ahead and name it. So this is y equals 8. Horizontal lines are always y equals the number. Vertical would be x equals. Okay, now we just need 2 more points somewhere around the focus so we can graph this thing. The focal width comes from this number in front of the unsquared parentheses. Ignore the negative sign. The focal width will be 12. Okay, that means the width of the parabola at the level of the focus is 12, which means 6 to the left, okay, which would be here, and 6 to the right. Alright, total of 12, not 12 left, 12 right, total of 12 from side to side. Okay, and that allows us to draw our parabola. Kabam! There you go. Alright, let's move on to the next problem. Number 2. Okay, so we need to rewrite this thing in standard form. Notice the y is squared, so that means it's the y's that I want on the left. Everything else needs to go to the other side. Okay, so that means I am going to add 8x to both sides, and I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. Okay, so what I will have then is y squared plus 8y, leave a space to complete the square. Then over here I'm going to have my 8x minus 32. Now let's complete that square. Half the middle is squared. So half of this is 4. 4 squared is 16. There you go. Please make sure you do it on both sides of the equation. Common mistake. That will allow us to write this as the same thing twice. So y plus 4 times y plus 4. Okay. Meanwhile, here I have 8x. If I combine these, negative 32 plus 16, well, that's just negative 16. So this is going to give me y plus 4 quantity squared, because there's 2 of them. And let's factor out the GCF here of 8. And that will leave behind x minus 2, of course. 8 times 2 is 16. Genius. And kabam, this is our standard form. feel like I should put a box around it. So this is our standard form. First, let's decide, is this going to open up, down, left, or right? We know that y equals x squared is the normal upward facing parabola. So when x is squared, that's either up or down if it's negative. But here we have the y being squared, not x squared, but y squared. When you have y squared, that's when you have sideways facing parabolas like these. Okay, either to the left or to the right. To the right would be positive, to the left would be negative. This 8 is positive, which means we will be facing to the right. So this is going to open to the right. Alright, now let's talk vertex. Got to be a little bit careful. It's still easy peasy lemon squeezy, but a common mistake would be to look here and go, oh, -4, 2. But that would be wrong, because when you do your vertex, the x coordinate has to come from the x, and the y coordinate has to come from the y part of the equation. So it will actually be 2, -4 will be my vertex. Okay, do not mix those up. The y is on the left, so you gotta switch it up. So the vertex is 2, -4. Alright, let's go ahead and graph it up. So 2, -4 is going to be right here. Alright, let's talk focus. Alright, to get the focus, we need that P value. And you see the 8, so 4P is going to equal 8. Alright, that means that P is going to equal 2, because we divide. So P is equal to 2. Now that tells me where the focus goes. We already know it's going to go to the right. But now we know, because of the P, we know it will be to the right 2. Starting from the vertex. So we go to the right 2, and there's the focus. Now if we go to the left 2, there's the directrix. Now the left 2 puts us right on the y-axis, which is just fine with me. Let me jazz it up. Okay, so there is our directrix. Let's record this stuff. So the focus is 4, -4. The directrix. Okay, vertical lines are always x equals a number. In this case, it's right on the line, so that's x equals 0. Now the focal width, alright, is 8. It's always positive, by the way. Now, this is a right-facing parabola, so I know it's doing this type of a thing. But the width of the parabola at the focus should be 8. That means it should be up 4 and down 4 from here. So, total of 8. Now we can draw the parabola. Alright, something like that will do okay. Alright, number 3, let us move on. Alright, so we need to convert this to standard form. Notice the x is squared. That means the x's will be on the left, which means this needs to go to the right. So I'm going to do plus 16y on both sides. Okay, so that's going to leave me with x squared minus 4x. Leave a space to complete the square. Then I'll have positive 16y plus 76. Time to complete the square. This is where the parentheses come from. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Make sure you do it on both sides, please. this will factor as the same thing twice, every single time. So this will be x times x, and then 2 times 2, and then minus minus. Notice this middle term here, this is where the signs come from. The third term is always positive, so that doesn't help us. If this is negative, these will be negative. Meanwhile, over here, I've got 16y plus 80. Alright, so I can write this as x minus 2 quantity squared equals, let's see, does 16 go into 80 evenly? I don't recall. 80 divided by 16. 5 times, check it out. Okay, so that means 16 is the GCF, and we have y plus 5 in there. So that is it. We have successfully rewritten this in standard form. That means the vertex, well, okay, wait. First, does it open up, down, left, or right? Well, since the x is squared, just like good old y equals x squared, we know it's going to either open up or down. Because the 16 is positive, it will be up, just like good old y equals x squared. So opens up. Now the vertex. Opposite of both of these, so 2 comma negative 5. 2 comma negative 5. Now to find the focus, no, let's graph that. So the vertex is at 2 comma negative 5. Shame on you if you have a pen or a pencil in your hand. Okay, let me just reiterate. If you're copying off of me as I do it, you're not learning, and you have a false sense of knowing what you're doing. Alright, put your pencil down, do it yourself later. Don't be lazy. So what do I have here? So focus time. Yeah, to find the focus, we need to find p. So 4p is equal to 16. If I divide by 4, then p is equal to 4, don't you know? Okay, now this tells me where to put the focus. Hold on, I wanted this to be pink. Yeah, this tells me where to put the focus. I knew it would be up. Now I know it will be up 4 from the vertex. So here's the focus. Okay, the directrix will be 4 in the other direction. So I know that my directrix will be down 4. So it would be here. Okay, so there's my directrix. Now let's label this stuff up. So the focus was at 2 comma negative 1. The directrix is here at y equals negative 9. Horizontal lines are always y equals. Okay, vertical lines would be x equals. Now the focal width. Is the 16. It's always positive, by the way. The focal width is 16. That means that at the level of the focus, the width of this parabola, it should be 16 wide. That means it should be 8 to the right and 8 to the left. Okay, if I counted this all the way across, the width of the entire parabola is 16. Now I can use these 3 points to graph my parabola. Kabam! Alright, so that was number 3. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.